What's going on, everybody? Marvel Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. And today, folks, we are looking at The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 112. This issue was released in June of 1972, and the cover date is September of 1972. And today, y'all, we are looking at the continuation of the storyline with the missing Aunt May. Aunt May has disappeared. She was upset about what Gwen Stacy had told her. And so now we have Spider-Man looking for his aunt. Where is Aunt May? Are we going to get any answers as to where she is, as well as why there is such a huge crime wave taking place in New York City? We're going to cover all of that in this issue, so do not turn away because we have an exciting issue to look at as Spidey cops out. And so that is the title of today's issue, Spidey Cops Out. This issue is brought to you by John Romita, who drew this issue. We have Jerry Conway on the script, and we have Artie Simek as the letterer and Roy Thomas on the editing. And this is a Stan Lee Presents. So Stan Lee is not involved in this issue. Remember, at this time in 1972, Stan Lee has stepped away from the writing scene. He is not writing anymore, and so Jerry Conway now is the person that's going to be writing these Amazing Spider-Man stories, and he's doing a pretty fantastic job. He wrote issue 111, and that's where we're picking up now. We saw that from last issue. If you don't recall, Spider-Man fought the Gibbon, and that is Martin Blank, by the way. And Gibbon was used by Kraven the Hunter, and the Gibbon was almost successful in beating Spider-Man thanks to the drug that Kraven the Hunter gave to Martin Blank. But Spider-Man was able to defeat him in the end, and so Spider-Man is going to drop Martin Blank at this hospital, and he gives the nurse here the name of this person who's just been dropped into the bed. I mean, Spider-Man, he's on a rush here. He has no time to play games, no time to give answers. He's in a rush to find Aunt May. Aunt May is the one person on his mind, and he has no clues as to where he needs to look to find Aunt May. As he recalls, Aunt May has always been a mother figure to Spider-Man because, if you don't remember, Peter Parker's parents died in a plane crash, and so Aunt May and Uncle Ben were the two closest relatives to take care of Peter when he was a child. And so Aunt May has always been a mother figure to him, and she has always taught him what it means to be responsible. And so this characteristic of Aunt May disappearing is unlike her, for her to disappear like this. Why would Aunt May just all of a sudden disappear? Why would she leave? I know that she was taken aback by what Gwen Stacy said, because Gwen said you need to stop babying Peter Parker, but still, this is not like Aunt May to do this. And so Peter's just having a little bit of a flashback here, thinking about how proud she was when he graduated and all of the times that harm has come to her because of his involvement in being Spider-Man. We recall way back in Amazing Spider-Man issue 54 and how Aunt May had generously invited the diabolical Dr. Octopus into her home, and how in issue 54 he broke through that wall here and caused her to faint, and that was a bad scenario. As well as way back in issue number 94 when Spider-Man fought the Beetle and Aunt May's life was at risk even then. And so, yeah, Spider-Man has always gotten the glory. Peter Parker, he's the high school grad, but when it comes to Aunt May, she is always in danger because of Spider-Man's involvement in being Spider-Man. So as Spider-Man is swinging through the city, he notices some gunshots going off. Just so happens that a crime is taking place here, and Spider-Man, as usual, is going to try to break this up, but before he realizes, hey, wait a second, what am I doing? My aunt's disappeared, and I'm getting set to mess with some fifth-rate gangling mugging? Am I crazy or something? He's like, I gotta go and focus. And so these guys are like, Bert, will you look up? I think Spider-Man's on our tail. But then, as they think Spider-Man's going to get involved, he turns around, swings to the other building. They start firing at him, but he has no time to stop this right now. He needs to go find Aunt May. While he's climbing that building, another crime is taking place. This time, this guy is dangling out of the window. This guy has a gun, and he's threatening to drop this guy. And instead of Spider-Man, saving this guy as you think he would, instead he's like, dang, I can't catch a break. He's like, but I gotta focus. I need to find Aunt May. And so he swings off and leaves this guy dangling from a window. So that's a little careless of Spider-Man. But still, when a family member is missing, your thinking is not that clear. And that's kind of what's going on with Spider-Man right now. He swings to his pad that he's sharing with Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn asks him, hey, have you seen Aunt May and heard any word from her? He says, not one word. He's just trying to be a good roommate here, but Peter has no time to hang out with Harry Osborn to go grab burgers. And as you've seen in these last few issues, the relationship between Harry and Peter, they're still friends, but they're not as close as they used to be. So Peter is walking towards the Daily Bugle, and then he gets stopped by none other than J. Jonah Jameson. J. Jonah Jameson is mad that Peter Parker has not been producing any photos for the Daily Bugle, and he tells Peter that if he does not make any photos and gives photos to the Daily Bugle, he is going to hold Peter's salary, and it might become permanent. It's up to you, Peter. And so Peter is just so upset. He's then going to be consoled by city editor Robbie Robertson here. Peter explains the whole story. And if you don't remember, Peter gave the handwritten note that Aunt May had given, and it just fouled up everything that J. Jonah Jameson was trying to do in his newspaper, because he was trying to put a link between the missing Aunt May and Spider-Man to say that Spider-Man abducted Aunt May, but that's not exactly what happened. As we know, that's not true. We see here that Peter Parker is going to break up this fight between these two kids. One kid is arguing that Spider-Man is a yellow coward. The other says he's not. Then we see Mary Jane Watson makes an appearance in this issue, as well as her aunt. And they're both still looking for Aunt May. Mary Jane Watson's aunt is a very close friend of Aunt May's, and she gives Peter Parker this idea that maybe the reason why Aunt May is missing is because she has been abducted by an enemy of Spider-Man. And this is something that Peter Parker has never really considered, but maybe it's true. Maybe one of Spider-Man's old villains has abducted Aunt May. And this starts to make Peter very worried. And so he rushes off, changes to Spider-Man, and now he's going to try to find some more clues as to why Aunt May has been, missing. And maybe that's because of this current crime wave that's taking place in New York City. He grabs this guy. He knows that he works for this gang. And this gang member tells Spider-Man that there is a war taking place between two rival gangs. Two big crime lords are involved. And he won't really reveal any more information to Spider-Man, but that's still enough for Spider-Man to know that he needs to get started looking for more clues as to how this crime organization, this whole crime spree, might be connected with the missing Aunt May. And so we also see an appearance of Flash Thompson and Gwen still feels sorry for what she said to Aunt May. We see here that we're finally going to get to the conclusion of this story when we see that there's these three men, they're trying to break into this on top of this building here. To get inside this building, they break open this door with gunfire. Spider-Man sets up his automatic camera so he can get some good pictures for J. Jonah Jameson. And he breaks up these three men, fights them down, and he notices that these are no ordinary guys. They're actually pretty strong, and they take down Spider-Man. And this one guy knocks Spider-Man down with this 2x4. Spider-Man's head is whirling at this point, but he notices that while Spider-Man was tussling with these guys, there was this contraption here, this power pack that came off one of the guys. He's like, no sign of Laughing Boy and his pals. Looks like I'll have to piece things together on my own. But this may be a clue, or maybe a piece of the puzzle. All of a sudden, Spider-Man's tingle starts to tingle here. His spider sense starts to tingle. And we hear the voice of a very familiar villain. He says, "You've interfered with my plans for the final time, my friend. This time, you've learned too much, too soon, and so, because your most unfortunate curiosity, you must die." And that voice is none other than the voice of Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus makes the final scene of this comic book here. And to be continued, next issue in 113, Spider-Man fights Dr. Octopus in one heck of a battle. You do not want to miss it. So before we look at issue 113, drop a like on this video. Comment down below, what are your predictions? Has Dr. Octopus kidnapped Aunt May? Is he involved with the disappearance of Aunt May? I want to know y'all's opinions down in the comments section below. And as always, drop a like, comment down below, subscribe if you have not, and I will see y'all in the next one.